Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, yesterday we discussed about the friction, okay, and the frictional force. Today we are going to discuss how we can reduce friction and how we can increase friction. You know, friction is necessary and at the same time it is able. So sometimes you will need to reduce the friction because it is causing some problem, and sometimes what will happen, you will need to increase the friction, okay, to get your work done. Now, what are the ways how we can reduce the friction? See, making the surface as smooth as possible. If the surfaces are smooth, then what will happen? They can easily slide over each other and there will be less amount of friction caused, right? So if the surfaces are smooth, friction will reduce. Then using lubricants like oil and grease, this one we can see in the machineries. Okay, while a machine is run, you will notice that there is a friction occurring between different parts of machine. So due to this friction, the sometimes the machine breaks down, some parts break. So to avoid this friction, what we do is we use some oil or lubricant. Okay, so as a result, the amount of friction is reduced and they can easily slide over each other. Okay, and also the problem of this kind of friction is it is producing a lot of heat energy. Okay, a lot of heat energy is produced due to this friction. You can understand this one. If we rub our two hands with each other, then you will see that you are feeling hot, right? Some heat is being generated. We do this in the winter season. Okay, so this unnecessary heat energy is a loss, right? It is an energy loss. We don't want that. So to reduce that one also, we need to reduce the friction, and hence we can use some lubricants like oil or grease, etc. And using wheel. Okay, so in the car or any, suppose you have a box. Okay, now the box you have to push it on the floor. Okay, let us say this is a box and you have to move it forward by pushing it. So it will cause a great amount of friction, right? But imagine if you fix a wheel like this. Okay, if you fix a wheel like this, then see it will be much easier to take it forward, right? Okay, so using wheel we can reduce the friction and also reducing the surface area. Reducing the surface area means, let us say I have this book, right? If I keep this book like this, okay, you can understand it like this, right? And try to push it, much more friction will be produced. But what if I kept the book like this? You see, now I can move it much easily, right? Okay, so what is the difference between these two cases? Here the surface area, okay, the book has a greater surface area in contact with my hand, so it will cause more friction. But if I can reduce the surface area that comes into contact with my hand, so less amount of friction will be caused. So this is how we can reduce the friction by reducing the surface area. Okay. Acha. Now we can, if you want to increase the friction, then we will do just the opposite of this one. For reducing, we are making the surface as smooth as possible. But to increase the friction, we need to roughen the surface. If the surface is rough, then what will happen? More friction will be caused. Acha, GM and Robin, I can see you raised hand. Okay, I will keep it in my mind. Let me finish this one, then we can talk about that. Okay. Then pressing the two surface more strongly. Okay. Now let us say these two book. Okay, trying to move over each other. So if I press more strongly, then what will happen? More friction will be caused and it will be harder to move over each other, right or not? Okay, so if I press the two surfaces strongly, then what will happen? The friction will be increased. Then increasing the density. Yes. Let us say I tell you to run in the air, you can run easily, right? You can run faster because the density of air is very less. But if I put you in water and tell you to run, you will not be able to run with the same speed definitely. Why? Because the density of water is higher. Okay, so if the density increases, definitely the friction will increase. Okay, now increasing frictional area. Yes, here we wanted to reduce the frictional area. Here we will want to increase the frictional area if I want to increase the friction. Now, this I can explain with an example. Let us say there is an inclined surface. Okay, my hand is the inclined surface and I keep this book here. Okay, if I keep this book here, what will happen? It will fall down, right? If the surface is smooth and the area is less, friction is less, it will slip. But I don't want the book to fall down. So what I will do, I will try to increase the surface area or increase the friction as much as possible so that the book doesn't fall down and it gets stuck here. Okay, then removing the wheel. Suppose you have the wheel, okay, then what will happen? Sometimes you are not even applying any force, and due to the wind, the box will go forward due to the wheel, right? So if we don't want it to move, okay, if we want to increase the friction, then what we can do, we can remove the wheel and the friction will be automatically increased and it will serve our purpose. Okay, so 4% have raised their hand. I will talk to you one by one at first. GM, yes, what is the doubt?
Sir, I did understand about the reducing surface area and increasing frictional area. That area 1.
Area 1, okay, see. This is a book, right? Okay, let us say this is the floor.
Yes.
And this book I kept it like this, okay? Now if I try to push the book, okay, see the book will have greater amount. This whole surface is in contact with the floor, right? So as a result, what will happen?
Yes.
Abdullah, I will unmute you, okay? I understood your doubt, so I will explain it. Okay, so what I'm trying to explain here, when we try to keep the book like this, okay, see, large amount of area is in contact with the floor, and as a result, it will be harder to push, right? But what if I keep the book like this? Then only this part, see, only this part will be in contact with the surface. So the surface area will be reduced. Previously, when I kept it like this whole surface was in contact. So this whole surface was causing friction. But now, if I keep it like this and try to push it, only this area, see, a small area will experience a small amount of friction. So as a result, the friction will be reduced. I will unmute you and you can tell me if you understood or not. Yeah, understood?
Yeah, I understood. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I will listen to Arafat. Yes, Arafat, what is your problem?
Sir, আমাকে ওই নাম্বার 1টা reducing friction নাম্বার 1টা একটু বুঝিয়ে দিতে।
Making the surface as smooth as possible, right? Okay. Now let us say you have a box. Okay, you have a box on the floor. If the floor is very smooth, then what will happen? You can easily push the box forward, right? Without causing too much of friction. But what if the floor is very rough, like the road, okay? It will be very hard to pull or push any box on the road because the surface is rough and there is more friction. So if the surface is smooth, then what will happen? You can experience, this one can be explained by our practical experience. We see the children playing in the gardens, right? They enjoy the slide thing. Now imagine the surface on which the children are sliding, that is very smooth. That is why they can go down, slide down easily, and friction is not that much. That's why their motion is not reduced as much. But what if the surface was very rough? Would the student be able to go down? Their pant will be torn because of great amount of friction, right? Understood, Arafat?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now Fatima to Zara. Yes.
Sir, I didn't hear the increasing density one.
Increasing density, yes. Okay, if I tell you to run in the air, you will be able to run very fast, right? Why? Because the density of air is very low. But if I tell you to, if I put you in water and tell you to run, will you be able to run in the same speed?
No.
No. Why? Because the density of water is higher. So when the density increases, the friction increases. The resistance to your motion increases. So that's how we can increase the friction. Okay.
Sir, ground এর সাথে কেমনে?
Ground এর সাথে, we are talking about the medium. In which medium you are running? If you increase the medium, then what will happen? The friction will, the fluid friction. Yesterday we discussed. Actually, I think you missed the last class. There are several types of friction. One type of friction was fluid friction. Here we are talking about fluid friction. When we are talking about density, we are mentioning the fluid friction, not the static friction or rolling friction. Okay, I think you need to go through the types of friction, then you will be able to understand. Acha. Any more doubt?
No.
Okay, now Nazmul. Yes.
Sir,
ইনক্রিজিং ফ্রিকশনাল এরিয়া এটা বুঝিনি।
This is what GM asked and I just explained. Increasing the area. Let us say, you are pushing the body like this, less area,
Yes.
so less amount of friction. But if you want to increase the friction, then what you will do? You will not put the box or the book right like this. What you will do? You will put the book like this to increase the frictional area. See, now this surface, whole surface will be in friction with the floor. So as a result, the friction will increase and it will be hard to
Okay.
push now. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Sir, what is friction?
What is friction? In the last class you were not there, right?
Excellent.
Acha, okay, no problem. Let me explain it. See, you have a box on the floor. Okay, you try to push it. You will see that the road is trying to resist the motion you are trying to create. You are trying to push the box, but there is a friction working with the ground. Okay, so when one surface tries to move over another surface, the bottom surface offers some kind of resistance. Okay, it wants to move, it wants to be in motion, but the bottom surface will resist the motion. So this is what friction is actually. Okay, and the force that is generated, see, if you want to go in this direction, the friction force will be generated in the opposite direction. If you want to move in this direction, then the friction will be generated, it is always in the opposite direction of your motion. Okay, I will give you the video of my previous lecture. From there you can get a better idea about friction. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now GM, what happened?
Yes, sir. Sir, we can't add the point in reducing friction like decreasing density.
Yeah, you can. Actually, this is for 2 marks question. You remember 2 marks question. So I gave you so many points. You can just choose 2 or 3. Write at least 3. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And try to memorize in this way so that you can you remember both. Like if you can memorize increasing density here, then you can write decreasing density here. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Decreasing area like that, removing wheel, in using wheel. So if you remember at least these 3, then it will be easier for you to write, right? And easier for you
Okay,
to
sir.
keep in your mind. Okay,
Okay.
I think no more doubts. Okay, and I hope that you have already listed out the point. Okay, these are important for 2 marks question B. Okay, they might tell you to list down 2 ways to reduce friction and 2 ways to increase the friction. Okay, we have come down to the very last topic of this chapter, which is, yes, anybody wants to say something?
এটা কি
Fatima?
টেবিল ছিল?
Not table, actually list of ways to increase or reduce friction. In number B, you might be asked to write 3 ways to reduce the friction. So you can pick any 3 and write there. Okay, like that. Okay. Then in the worksheet that I gave for force A, comma B, in that sheet you will notice a question. That question is, friction is necessary evil. Okay, explain. This question is given in your worksheet. So I will tell you how to answer this question. So to write the answer, what you will do, you will write
Do you write some?
advantages of friction. Okay, you will write, let us say, 2 points, minimum 2 points, and then again you will write disadvantages of friction. Okay, and again you will write 2 points. Okay, these 2 points I will not tell you. If you have understood the concept of friction, then I want you to come up with some idea, like in the next class I will be asking this from you to tell me 2 of the advantages of the friction and 2 of the disadvantages of friction. Okay, so from your idea we will choose the best 2. Okay, and we will put it here. Okay, kindly try to think, not just copy from your friends. Okay, come up with your own idea that why sometimes friction is necessary. Okay.
Okay, sir.
and also write some disadvantages, and after you have written these 4 points, then you can say that's why friction is necessary due to the advantages and evil due to the disadvantages. Okay, this is the format you need to write this question. Okay, I see actually many students, writing it in paragraph way. Okay, when you write something in paragraph way, it becomes actually boring for the teacher, because we teachers do not like to go through the paragraphs, all the lines. Okay, if you write point wise, it is very easy for us to check, and that it is impressive also. The presentation also looks nice, right? Okay, so try to avoid paragraph type of writing and use these points type of concepts. Okay, yes, GM.
Sir, this may come in 3 marks also, right?
Not exactly. I have never seen this one coming as 3 mark, because in A, B, C, you are talking about C, right? In C,
Yeah.
there is always a mathematical problem. C and D mostly
I see.
contains mathematical problems. A or B, it will contain. Not A, because A is for 1 mark. For 1 mark, you will not be writing this much. Okay, it will be coming for 2 marks, inshallah. Okay,
Okay,
it's
sir.
very important for your upcoming exam also. So when I say it is very important for your upcoming exam, it has a special meaning, right? I hope you understand by now. Okay, so with this topic, we have discussed almost all the theory part of this topic, and already I discussed, I guess, 7 out of 8 problems that I provided you in the worksheet. Only one problem is left, that is problem number 6, and the solution of that problem I provided you this morning only. So, do I need to explain the solution? Because I think it is pretty much clear the way I wrote it, explaining everything. So, did you go through? And also, I understand if you haven't go through, because since morning you are attending all the classes. So, if you couldn't get the chance to go through, then okay, I'm not blaming you, anyone. I understand. So, I better explain this one. Okay, nobody's raising hand, but still I'd like to discuss this one, because this type of problem, there is one technique to solve this one. Okay, that technique is, remember this technique always. Whenever bullet and gun, this type of problem, 2 type of equation you might be in need of using. One equation is conservation of momentum. Okay, whenever there is bullet and gun, okay, there might be 2 scenarios. One is conservation law of momentum, that is m1u1 plus m2u2 is equal to m1v1 plus m2v2. Another one is v square equal to u square plus 2as. Now, why this equation? We already know 4 equation, right? V equal to u plus at, s equal to ut plus half at square, then s equal to u plus v by 2 into t, and the fourth one is v square equal to u square plus 2as. Now, I told you a special thing, that when we have to choose this equation, can anybody tell me? I want this answer from you. When we will choose this equation?
Sir, which one? V square?
Yes, v square. This one, this equation, when we will choose? Can anybody tell
Sir,
me?
when they are asked to use find the velocity or acceleration,
To
sorry,
find
yes,
the
or
velocity,
time.
we can use v equal to u plus at
We
also.
don't need time.
To
Who
find
told
the
that?
time.
Who told that?
Tamim.
Tamim, Shabash, Tamim Iqbal and Tamim Rahman, all are informed today. Nowadays, you are very much informed. Good, Tamim. Okay, so whenever time is not given in the question and they didn't even ask you to find the time, okay, 2 things you have to check. Is the time given in the question? No. Did they ask you to find the time? No. Then 99% time, 99% probability is that you will be needing this equation, b square equal to u square plus 2as. Okay, whenever there is no time given in the question and you have not been asked to find out the time, so use this equation. Okay, now
What, sir?
huh? GM, you said something?
Yeah.
What?
You said if there is no time or no time is to be founded, then why is it like we should use this v square? We should use this one, right?
Can you find t in this equation? If you look at all other equations, v equal to u plus at, s equal to u plus b divided by 2 into t, s equal to ut plus half at square, and then comes this equation. All these three equations involves time t, but this is the only equation where time is not needed. So that is why whenever time is not mentioned in the question and you have not been asked to find out the time, you can use this equation only. Okay, so this is why this equation, and for bullet and gun you need to apply this equation twice. Okay, there will always be two parts. Okay, the bullet is entering. Okay, bullet is entering a wooden piece of box, right? So they will tell you about the first part, like to enter 4 centimeter. Okay, it lost half of its velocity. Now will it be able to penetrate the rest part? Okay, so there is clearly two division, right? They are talking about 4 centimeter, and if the total is 6 centimeter, then 2 centimeter left, right? So two part, 4 centimeter, 2 centimeter. So for 4 centimeter, you need to apply this formula once. For 2 centimeter, you need to apply this formula again. Okay, then you will see that the answer has come. Okay, I think this is enough to understand the problem, because I have already provided you the solution. So kindly go through the solution today, and if you have any doubt, inshallah we can discuss about this further on Sunday. Okay, and if nobody asks me any doubt then about that one, then inshallah we will be starting our next chapter, which is work power energy. Okay.
Sir, chapter finished?
Yes, chapter finished.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, finally we could finish.
Alhamdulillah.
Sir, can you explain this again?
Which one, Halima?
The one you taught now.
Okay, let me give you the idea again. Okay, see, bullet and gun. Okay, if they are talking about some backward velocity or finding the final velocity of the bullet or mass of the gun or mass of the bullet, then we will be using conservation law of momentum, this one. But if bullet and gun, and we are talking about that the bullet is entering some wooden block or something, okay, it is entering something, and while entering, see, the bullet was going through the air previously, okay, here it is air, so it will be going with great velocity. But as soon as it will enter any wooden piece, what will happen? Velocity will decrease.
Yes.
So as the velocity will decrease, there are two possibilities. Okay, the bullet will penetrate the whole wood and go. Okay, or what will happen? The bullet will not be able to penetrate the wood and it will stay here itself. Okay, this is what happens sometimes, you know, in movies, right? You shoot a person,
Yes.
sometimes, you know, the bullet enters the head and goes out from the back, and sometimes what happens, you shot the person and the bullet stays inside and the doctor gets it out, right? So it is
Yes,
something
yes.
like that. So we have to find out whether the bullet will be able to penetrate the wood or it will stay inside the wood itself by you know, doing some calculation depending on the given information. Okay, now if I explain you the problem, see, here we are not talking about time and you don't have to find out the time also, so there is nothing about time. So when a situation like this arises, we will use this equation, b is equal to u square plus 2as, okay, because it doesn't involve time.
Okay.
So this equation for bullet and gun, in this type of problem, bullet and gun, we have to use this equation twice. Okay, if you remember this one, this will help you do a great deal in the example. Okay, because many times you know, you will take time to understand the situation. But if you remember, okay, this is bullet and gun, and this is talking about entering the bullet into a wooden piece, I need to apply the b square equal to u square plus 2 as this equation twice. Okay, now first there will be a clearly two parts. Okay, they will give you a condition that after entering 4 centimeter the velocity has reduced to half or 1/3. Okay, so for this part you will find the initial velocity here, with what velocity the bullet is coming, and the final velocity here, you know, they will say it has become half. So if initial velocity is 100 here, then the half will be 50 here, right? So for this part, the initial velocity u, v, you know these things. You will calculate a from here. From the first part, you need to calculate a, and we will use the
Yeah.
value of a in the second part. Okay, so in the second part we will apply v square equal to u square plus 2as again. Okay, and we will find out the distance, how much distance will it cover now. Okay, see, if it wants to penetrate the wood, it has to cover 2 more centimeter, right? So if we will
Yes.
calculate the distance that it will cover. See, now for this part, this is the initial velocity, right? For the second part,
Yeah.
this is the initial velocity, and we will consider the final velocity for this part to be 0. Final velocity for this part to be 0, because when the bullet will stop, that time the velocity will be 0, right? So before the velocity becomes 0, what is the distance the bullet is covering? If that distance is greater than 2 centimeter, then definitely the bullet will penetrate the wooden block and go, right? But if the distance covered before the velocity becomes 0, the distance covered is less than 2 centimeter. That means it will not be able to penetrate the whole wooden block, and it will stop somewhere here. Do you understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the concept of this problem. Okay, if you understand the concept, then every problem will be very easy to solve. Okay, do not go for memorizing. I request you very badly. Okay, please do not memorize anything, because you will not be getting the same problem in the exam hall. But if you understand the concept, if you understand the basic, and you understand what you are doing and why you are doing, which formula you have to choose and why you have to choose, if you can get the concept, then any problem that I give in the exam or in SSC exam, you will be able to solve. GM, bolo.
Sir, there's more 5 minutes left, sir. Can you explain like more categories, like not only bullet and gun, maybe like
Okay.
train, then any other? Because today is the
Actually,
last day, maybe of
I
course.
have tried to cover all the categories in those 8 problem. Okay, so this is for preliminary. Actually, you are only in grade 9, and this is the first term, right? So I am giving you idea about every type of problem. I will give you more difficult problem in the second term and in grade 10. Okay, so whenever we start eating some medicine, at first we try with the lower dose. Okay, if that doesn't work, then we will go to the higher one. So do not worry. Okay, I will prepare you. You just follow what I say and just do what I tell you to do. Okay,
Okay, sir.
don't worry, I will prepare all of you, inshallah, if you are with me. So for now, kindly practice this 8 type of problem. Okay, before exam I will give you some other problems related to this one, but different questions. Okay, so you will be knowing how to solve, and those will be easier for you to practice. Okay. Acha.
Okay.
Now my time for grade 10 class is going to be started. Okay, so this was a nice session with you. I hope you understood all the concepts. See you in the next class, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.